Okay, so this is task 2 on the cfbot challenge that I'm taking on. And the idea here is that we have to pair up competitors. So we've got a list of competitors here. I think there's actually 2 in this location. And we have to find the 2 closest circles. We take them out, and then we find the next 2 closest circles, and we take them out, and so forth. That way we find pairs. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the moment. Let's take a look at the list. Imagine we're looking for an opponent. We're standing at the center of search circle. All the search circles have the same radius, and at each step we increase the circle radius by 1. I think we can probably improve that algorithm, but let's start with the algorithm as it's put out. Match is found as soon as 2 circles intersect. Okay, so here's the example. We've got, this is our list. I take that list. Then at the first stage we notice that these 2 both have 100 XP, and so even at size 0, those 2 coincide. So let's decorate these. That one's 0, so that's user 0. This one is user 1. Oops. This one is user 2. This one is 3. This one's 4. And then we've got 5 and 6. We've got 5 and 6 there. So those are our users. And at the first stage we notice that these 2 make up our first pair. So our first pair is, we have 1 and 4, and what remains is, so 1 and 4 is the first pair, and what remains is this list here, with those 2 taken out. So that one's taken out, and this one's taken out. Okay, and then I want to find the next 2. So just reading through these instructions, after 5 search steps, users 5 and 6 intersect. So these 2 are the next 2 closest. You can see they're only 10 away, so they'll get taken out. And so the next stage, I'm going to have 1 and 4 as before, and my next pair will be 5 and 6. And the remaining items will be this list here. Copy and paste that in, but with these guys removed. So the next closest pair will be these 2 here. They'll get taken out, so in the next row I'm going to have, what was that, 2 and 3. So 2 and 3 are the pair, these are removed, and I stop now because I've only got one person in that bunch, so I'm not going to find a buddy. Well, I don't think I can bring myself to write something that increases the circle radius by 1 each time. That would just be too inefficient. Can't bring myself to do that. But it does look like it's going to help if I sort these things. Trouble is, after I've sorted it, I will lose the index. So what I'm going to do first off is to take that input list. I'm going to decorate it with the index number, and then I'm going to sort. So let's start that. So this is candidate list. Candidate list is CL. So what I'm going to do is take the existing list CP, and I'm going to map. I'm going to add in the index number. So I do xp map. So this is the function that takes x to something. Trouble is, the thing that I need is the index number, and I don't have the index number. But the map function allows you to take in xi, where I is the index number, and I'm going to output I X. So I'm going to take that and add in the list IX. So it should mean that every item is decorated with its index number. Let's just see if that's true. Console.log candidate list. So that's my first task. Let's run that. I'm not expecting to get this right, but we can see the console output. You can see I've got 200, 0, 0, 200, 1, 100, so that is this list here. Well, I've got it the wrong way around, but XP came in as 200, 170, 130, and so forth, and they've all been decorated with their index number. Having done that, I can now afford to sort it. So that's the CL. I can say cl.sort. What I want to sort is on the second component. Okay, so the way sort function works in JavaScript is you supply it with an anonymous function, and that anonymous function traditionally takes in AB. A is AB, these are the two things that I want to compare, and you return either a negative, positive, or zero number, depending on how those two things compare. So what I want to do is take the second component of A and subtract the second component of B. So A1 minus B1, that should sort the list from smallest to largest. Let's try that. And we check the console output, we can see we've got 70, 100, 100, and so forth. It's preserved the index numbers. There's 0, been put halfway down the list. The smallest item in the input list was 70, that's 70 there. We can see that's gone to the start of the list. At the end of the list, I've got 810. So 810 stayed where it was at the end of the list. So my list has now been sorted, and it should be easy now to run through that list and find the largest pair. And I'm going to do that repeatedly. But let's try and get the closest pair. So if I want to find the closest pair in this list here, let's just step through the list once and we'll find the first list first time. So for I equals 0, now I want to go to just short of the end of the list. So that is cl.length minus 1, because I don't want I to go right to the end of the list. I++. And what I want to find is the shortest distance between a pair. So the distance is between, so this is CL of I plus 1, and it's the second component of that. And I'm going to subtract that from the one I'm on, which is CL I, and again it's the second component. So that's the distance. I want to find the smallest one of those. So that's D. I've got to keep track of that's the current distance. Before I start up the loop, I want to find the position of the shortest. And let's also have the distance of the shortest. So this is going to be the best we've found so far as we go through the list. So if the shortest distance we've found so far is undefined, or that shortest distance is less than the distance we've just found, what I'm going to do is update my best so far. So if that's the case, I found a shorter distance than what I found so far, so I will say PS, this is the pointer to the shortest distance, that's going to be I, and the shortest distance so far will be just D. So at the end of that loop, I should have identified the closest I. So let's output that. So I, and what was it? No, not I. That is the pointer to the shortest distance and the shortest distance. So when I run this, I should find these two here, which are identical. So I'm looking for these guys. So that should be position 1, and the distance between them is 0. So I'm looking for this number to be 1 and this number to be 0. Let's run that. Okay. Read property 1 of something undefined, and that is in line 10, which is here. CL, so that should be I is less than. I just wrote that loop wrong. Okay, so the console output It's told me it's got 4 and 600. That's definitely not right. Yeah, I've got that exactly wrong. That's found me the largest distance. That's the distance between these two, which is 600. So it's done exactly the wrong thing. Must be this condition. I've got the wrong way around. So I want to update the shortest distance if the distance I'm on right now is less than the shortest distance so far. Okay, try that again. That's more like it. It's found me that this guy here and this guy here are closest. They've got a distance of 0, and that's because of the 1. Okay, that worked really nicely. It's found me the index of the pair to be removed, so I want to remove that pair. And I want to record the fact that 1 and 4 are the two that I want to report on first. So let's set up a variable called ret. This will be the return. And just looking at the output should be a list of pairs, and the first pair that I want is this 1, 4, and I can see that's 1 and 4 that I want to pick out. So having found that closest pair, I'm going to say ret.push. What I want to do is put in that, so that's push. What I want to do is in square brackets, I want to pick out those two numbers. So that was CL of, the index of the item I found was PS, and this time I want the first component of that, and I want CL of the one next to it, that's PS plus 1, and again I want the first component of that. So that's the result I want. I also want to remove those two guys from the list, and there's a JavaScript function to do that. JavaScript function is called slice or splice, I don't remember which, so let's find that. JavaScript, I think it's called splice, and MDN is the best place to find this kind of information. So array prototype splice at MDN, let's take a look at that. And it tells me about the splice function. I don't use this very often. Splice method changes content by removing existing elements and or adding new elements. We want to remove elements. So here's a nice example. If I've got these fish here and I want to remove 2 fish starting at 0, and so that looks like an example of adding 1. Here's an example of removing 1. So the number, that's 1 fish has been removed from position 2. That's looking good. So angel, clown, sturgeon. And 2 got removed by this call here. 2, 1, 2 being the position and 1 being the number we want to remove. Okay, so I want to change my input list from cl.splice, and the position I want to remove is PS, and the number I want to remove is 2. I want to remove that 1 and the 1 next to it. Okay, so let's console.log ret and the remaining list cl. See if that worked. Did I remove the first 2? Let's run that. Okay, we've got a problem at line 17. Okay, I can't see that at all. I'm going to comment this line out. And I'm going to comment this line out. I'm just going to look again at what I have. So that's the ret list I want to change. CL is that. Let's just see what PS is. I'll run it again. So here's my console output. And it looks like that's 1, that's PS. That's item 1, no problem there. Item 1, I plus 1, that should be okay. I can't for the life of me see why that would cause a problem. Instead of pushing, let's do console.log. Just flailing around here. Yeah, it's giving me the error. It's saying it can't find. That's PS and PS plus 1. No, I'm having real problems here. I suspect this is the problem. Let's just look at PS plus 1. Don't really see how that can go wrong. Nope, it's not liking CLPS. Yeah, but how can that be causing a problem? It's taking a long time to run this time. Nope, still not liking it. CLPS and CL and PS. Let's see what all of those things are. How could that possibly go wrong? So the console output, that's CLPS1, which surely has got a component. This is CL. So that thing there is a pair. It's saying I can't get the 0th component of that. So if I put in here 0, it hits an error. Okay, maybe it's not hitting an error on test 1, maybe it's a later one. Maybe there's a later case in which CL isn't very big, if CL is small. Okay, alright, just as a temporary measure, I'll say if the input list, if the input list is very small, if xp dot length equals it, no, if it's less than 2, then we're just going to return. I must remember, take that out. So I think the problem is that my code is working on the test line I'm looking at, but there's a later example where xp is 0 or 1 and it's failing. Let's try that again. Okay, that's better. Now I'm getting the results I want. So let's take this out. What I wanted to do, what I had before, I had ret.push, of a pair list, and that was going to be CP of PS, and I wanted the first component of that, and then I want CP of PS plus 1, and I want the first component of that. So that's my ret list put right, and let's put this slice back in, and what I'm hoping for is at the end of this, I'm hoping to get the return, which should contain 1, 4, that pair there, and the CL list should have those two removed from it. Let's try that again. CP is not defined. No, there's no such thing as CP. That wasn't CP. That was CL. And CL again. Okay. So the console output, that's my return. Yep. And here's the input list with those two removed. Perfect. Okay. So this section here, from here all the way down to there, that removes the closest pair. So I can carry on doing that until my list is small enough. So a while. So the shortest list I can cope with is one with 2 things in it. And so I want, well, CL.length is greater than or equal to 2. Then we'll do all of this stuff. All of that stuff there. And by the time I finish, ret should be right, and that CL list should contain just the remainder. Not only that, but I've now taken care of this line here. Don't have to worry about that. I can remove that. Let's try. That's looking nice. So that's the first pair, that's the second pair, that's the third pair. Okay, so ret is the right answer. Let's just return ret. We should have it working. Okay, my output was 1, 4, and then 5, 6, and then 2, 3. So it looks like I'm out. Got this pair wrong. Let's put some more debugging in. Every time we've done that, let's console.log is location PS and .log remaining, and that's just CL. I should be able to see what's happening at each stage. Let's take a look at, so first time in, pair found was at 1, that's these guys here, and we know that first one worked. Okay, next time we go around, there's a pair found at 1 again, so it's taken this pair here, that's rubbish, that's nothing like it, should have been this pair here, so it's definitely found the wrong pair. And I just need to figure out why I didn't find the correct pair. So it's definitely my program that's wrong. It should have found 5, 6. That's what the correct output says. The correct output was 5, 6. It should have found that pair there. Hold on, it's saying here pair found at 1. So it has found the right ones. So that is the right one there, and that one. Okay, something weird going on. Okay, I know what I've done. Looking back at the slice documentation. This returns a new list. It doesn't actually change the existing list. Changes the content through by removing the existing elements by adding new elements. Okay, I'm totally getting slice and splice mixed up. I am using the function splice. And here's the definition of the function splice. Now this function splice changes the content through by moving or adding. Nope, still can't see what's wrong. Let's put in some more debugging. Let's find out what DS is. Okay, so we start off by finding the right pair and we removed them. So pair found at 1, and that removed the right ones. This is my remaining list, and it should remove these 2, which is 0, 1, 2, 3. So it should have found the pair at 3, but it's actually found the pair at 1. 1 and 0. So it's saying the distance between this one, no, between this one and this one is 0. That makes no sense. Okay, I can see my bug. It's the second time we're going around the loop. I haven't reinitialized these guys here. So that should have been in the loop. So take that out and put it in here. Okay, that's a hard one. Okay, so the problem I had before was that PS and DS were being remembered from the previous loop, and there was no way that was going to work. Let's try it again. Okay, so now I'm finding 1, 4 right, still finding the wrong pair here. It's finding 3 and 0. Okay, let's take a look. So after the first loop that went right, and we want to find this pair here at 0, 1, 2, 3, so that is the right location it's found. So no, the right location should have been 3, 0. No, it should have been position 3, but it's saying it found the pair at 1, 0. So it's this stage here, it's finding 1, 0, it's finding these 2 here, it's saying these 2 are closest. And it's saying the distance between them is 0. Okay, still can't see why that should be the case. So if DS is undefined, finding PS is 0, so it finds that pair, rejects them. Second time around, a loop will reject. Okay, no idea what's going on. Let's just put in some more debugging, throw some more debugging at it. So console.log. I'm in the loop, and I've got I and no I and D. and ds, that's the smallest distance so far. Let's just watch this loop run. Okay, so first time I've got that input loose, first time it went fine, found a pair. So now I've got, this is my remaining list, and I'm in the loop. First time round, I is 0, so it's doing 70 and 130. 70 and 130, and it's saying I is 0. Good. The distance D is 60. That's 130. Take away 70, that's 60. That's correct. But it's saying ds is 0. But I initialize ds here. It looks like ds is still set at 0, even though it's undefined. I've forgotten how JavaScript does this crazy thing with variables. What I need to do is set ds to be an impossible value, so relying on being undefined didn't work. So either I set ds to undefined explicitly here, just declaring it there is not enough, or I set it to some unknown value. I quite like the notion of setting ds to undefined explicitly. Let's find out how to do that. So JavaScript set to undefined. Okay, can I set variables to undefined? Stack Overflow. Okay, don't be confused about null. Okay, and however, because you can undefine unsigned, once a variable is defined, you can't clear it back to undefined. Okay. Alright, so I can't set it back to undefined. Let's set it to an impossible value. Let's set it equal to -1. So if ds is -1, so that can't be undefined, we'll say if ds equals -1, or that, then we'll set that up first time around. So we're setting ds to an explicit undefined value there, because you can't undefine a variable after you've defined it. Alright, that debugging worked okay. Okay, that's much better. So it looks like the first test worked okay, but tests 3 and 5 aren't working. Let's take out some of this debugging. I'm sure we don't need to debug at this level. Take that out, and let's comment these out. You don't know if we're going to need them. Okay, so just to cheer ourselves up, let's show all tests. We've got a lot of green here, and we're much more cheerful. Test 1 passed, test 2 passed, test 3 failed, test 4 passed, and test 5. So we're just trying to find the cases where our tests failed. It's nice that they've given us so many test cases. It kind of implies we've been a bit careless, but let's see if we can figure out what's going wrong here. So now I've got these two enormous values, two people with huge experience points and one person with a very low experience point. And I should be outputting 1, 2 and 2, 1. Okay, so the input specification said that these pairs should be sorted. Okay, so I pushed that pair onto there, and these could be the wrong way around. Absolutely. So what's the best way to sort them? It's only 2 items. I could actually sort them. What the hell, let's sort them. Let's say var np, that's the new pair, equals that. So that's the new pair, and let's sort that new pair. Okay, weird thing about JavaScript is that it'll sort like a string, even if you give it numbers. It's just crazy the way it does that. So you've always got to say sort AB is A minus B. That ensures that it sorts numbers like numbers, not like strings. And so having done that sort, let's put in NP. That's the new pair. Okay, so that should take care of this problem here where I put in 2, 1, I should have put in 1, 2. Let's take a quick look at test 5, see if that was something similar. I outputted 3, 1 instead of 1, 3. It looks like I'd made the same problem there. I've taken out all my other debugging. Let's run that. That's looking nice, a row of greens. Okay, just going to have a quick review of my code before we go through and worry about odd cases. What about if the list was empty or 0 or 1? If XP was a very small list, then that wouldn't hurt, that wouldn't hurt, that wouldn't hurt. This thing here, If it's 0 or 1, that loop won't run at all, and I won't do any work, and I think I'll probably get the right answer. I'm tempted to just let that go. Let's try. Excellent, that's very reassuring. Okay, I think I need a rest before I tackle the last one.